Good, happy Wednesday morning, November 18, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Wednesday morning, so let's begin. First up, let's begin with your COVID-19 updates. There are 279 new COVID-19 cases announced by New Hampshire health officials, 2 additional deaths. And now let's take a look at your coronavirus in New Hampshire key information and data. Let's take a look at that right now. And here is a look at that information for all of you right now. There are 15,303 number of people in New Hampshire have tested positive for COVID-19. 11,330,842 number of people in the United States have tested positive. 502 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 817 number of people who have been hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And 424 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. And now let's take a look at this map of New Hampshire where current cases of COVID-19 are. In Nashua, 370. Let's take a look at this map of New Hampshire where total cases of COVID-19 are. Nashua, 1619. And let's take a look at these 3 charts here. Let's start with the first chart here. New cases each day in New Hampshire in the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, new hospitalization. In red, deaths. Let's take a look at this chart here. Current cases in the purple, total current COVID-19 cases. And in the orange, current hospitalization. Let's take a look at this chart here. Total cases. In the purple, total positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, total hospitalization. Red, deaths. And blue, recovered. Let's take a look at this chart here. Positive PCR test rate and daily PCR test. Let's take a look at this chart here. Age group of cases. Female and male cases. And risk information. And let's take a look at this chart here. Infections, hospitalizations, and deaths. And let's take a look at this chart here. Deaths, percent of New Hampshire population, race/ethnicity of cases, and hospitalizations. And a reminder, your common symptoms: fever, lack of smell, cough, chills, difficult breathing, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. How it spreads, and prevention tips. And be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. Death of 2-year-old girl in Londonderry under investigation. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Chapel Tractor has been in our family since 1955, when great-grandfather Pearlie and our grandfather George decided...
Breaking news in Londonderry now. Police are investigating the death of a 2-year-old girl. Officers responded to a truck stop on Rockingham Road for an unresponsive toddler. A patrol sergeant performed CPR, but the girl was pronounced dead at the hospital. An autopsy was scheduled for today.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Growing waits at COVID-19 testing sites. Officials urge vigilance around gatherings. Officials advise a negative test is not a free pass to travel. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Amy Cavino.
It's the official tractor of Tough Cap Month at Mahindra. Get great deals on all cab tractors, including zero.
Message around Thanksgiving is be very, very careful. These numbers are real. The surge is very real. And again, keep your gatherings limited, hopefully to just the immediate family.
It seems everyone needs or wants a COVID test right now. But health officials say a negative test is not a free pass to mingle or travel or not wear a mask. The incubation time of the virus makes it impossible to predict.
There's a fairly wide time period where the virus could be sort of replicating in your body and the test may not pick it up.
Things may seem quiet at the JFK Coliseum, but the free testing clinic is by appointment only, and all 300 appointments through the health department in Manchester are booked this week.
If you're going to a primary care office where you seek your medical care, they're probably more likely to only test you if you're symptomatic. Our location will test people regardless of symptoms.
The testing, the mask wearing, the social distancing isn't about you, say health experts. It's about those you love. The transmission is silent and invisible.
But we have to be mindful that not all of our family members may have a robust immune system.
COVID fatigue is real, but Governor Sununu is urging Granite Staters to buckle down for just a few more weeks.
We have a vaccine coming. There's a bright light at the end of this tunnel.
New information about a vaccine is starting to emerge. It may be a 2-injection process and may not be widely available until spring 2021. Reporting live this evening, Amy Cavino, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Places of worships continue COVID-19 guidelines in wake of rising case numbers. Possible community exposure confirmed in Wolfboro. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Tim Callery.
Hey, Paul here, owner of Century Roofing. I personally wish to thank the thousands of our customers for supporting our team.
DHHS is investigating an outbreak of COVID-19 at the Calvary Wolfboro Church. Officials say anyone who attended services at 9 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. on November 1st may have been exposed to the virus. So far, 25 cases have been linked to that church. It joins at least 5 other places of worship recently connected to either a COVID outbreak, cluster, or exposure.
We know that small groups, religious gatherings, and some sporting gatherings have been the chief means by which this virus has spread.
Bishop Rob Hirschfeld of the Episcopal Church of New Hampshire says, like everyone else, they've made changes to services to prevent outbreaks in their churches.
Most everything has been, virtual, either by Zoom or YouTube Live or Facebook Live.
A majority of in-person services have been held outdoors. As we head into the Christmas season and the cold settles in, the bishop says there's a chance most holiday services will go virtual. He says everyone needs to do their part to help slow the spread.
I do not want any action that I do to inflict any kind of hardship on others. That's what it means to love our neighbor as ourselves. And so that's why we wear masks.
Most places of worship will put their COVID guidelines right on their website. They suggest checking those weekly for any changes. In the meantime, we did reach out to the Calvary Wolfboro Church for a comment, but we have not received a response as of airtime. Reporting live tonight, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Long-term care facilities stay cautious, find ways to lift residents' spirits. Lessons learned earlier on impacting a second wave of COVID-19. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Jennifer Crompton.
Mount
Carmel Rehabilitation and Nursing Center in Manchester had a COVID outbreak in May. One asymptomatic staffer, leading to 27 cases in the building and 6 COVID-related deaths. They've kept their guard up, keeping COVID out since, but administrators say COVID fatigue among staff is one of their biggest concerns as the second wave hits.
And reminding them that it's going to be them that brings it into the building and not a resident to them.
Lessons learned having gone through it once.
Supplies in the beginning were short. We're feeling better now, today, than we did back then. Are we 100% confident? No, because we still don't know what will happen with staffing if an outbreak occurred. That was a big thing that hurt us when the people, left.
Their fellow Catholic Charities Center in Berlin spared so far.
The luxury of time to educate our staff has helped, but with it closer to the neighborhood, it definitely has ratcheted up the awareness, if you will.
As time wears on, keeping spirits up has been key.
Staff are taking the time to sit with the residents and provide that little extra attention because the families can't, because they're not allowed to come into the building.
So that's the kind of stuff that really pulls on your heartstrings.
They say it's been especially tough for the upcoming Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays, knowing that most families that want to spend time with their loved ones won't be able to. We're live in Portsmouth, Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. State officials continue to work with homeless living outside courthouse in Manchester. Officials say they are working to provide shelter. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Kristen Carosa.
Hey, Paul here, owner of Century Roofing. I personally wish to thank the thousands of our customers for supporting our team. At Century, our team...
Officials from the Department of Health and the Attorney General's office says the work to help the homeless living on Chestnut Street in Manchester has been going on for months. They say they continue to speak with people about available beds in addition to room and other encampments if people decide not to move into housing. They say no individual from the courthouse encampment who wanted a bed over the past several months has been denied. But outreach workers in the city of Manchester say finding space is no easy task.
It's an extremely hard time. It's a hard time for the city. It's a hard time for the state.
Because of the pandemic and the need for social distancing, there are fewer shelter beds available, not just in Manchester, but across the state.
Almost every single shelter is full, almost on a nightly basis. So even if we had someone in Manchester who wanted to go to another shelter, it's unlikely that we would be able to find them a space today.
Meantime, there are still several homeless encampments scattered across the city. In January 2019, there were 74 people living unsheltered in Manchester. Over the past 10 months, 365 people have been identified. City officials continue to work on a plan for when the temperature drops below zero.
They're looking at places that are currently not being used as much right now or not at all because of COVID. So city spaces that are closed are being looked at as a potential place where we can house people on an emergency basis.
The city's winter homeless plan is being finalized as we speak to handle those emergency situations we are told that could be finished as early as this week. Reporting in Manchester, Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.